Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. We will be opening up the phone lines in probably about 30 minutes. So if anybody's calling in now, feel free to call right back or hang tight backstage. All righty. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. Friends call me Sleuth. We were going to try to go on a little bike ride, but for some reason, I could not get my microphone and my headphones to sync with my iPhone. But I did air up the tires and grease up the bike, and I'm going on a bike ride. I wanted to go live, and I also wanted to get the hell out of the office and get some sun. Such a nice day. And I will. But there are some things I wanted to talk with you guys about. Old cases, old true crime cases. Well, one in particular. Also want to do a follow-up or an update on a case that we covered in True Crime in the Morning. Which is Benjamin Anderson, and that's out of my hometown, Phoenix, Arizona. The investigators had just recently released new information on the case. We'll take a look at that. If you guys are hip-hop lovers, you might have heard of a group called the Lost Boys. Well, back in 1999-ish, there was basically some beef or a feud going on between them and some other local groups. I think one of the groups was the Young Guns. We'll talk about that. Ended up leading to a shooting inside of a cinema. It was the opening night for Godfather 3, and they got into a shootout. I believe 3 innocent bystanders were wounded, and one young man was murdered. So we'll look a little bit into that old beef, some of that true crime. That's New York. And then whatever else you guys want to talk about. Yeah, Renee's a good song. Honey that I met one day on my way down from John Jay. Yeah, it's a good song. Wish I could play it. What's up, Chris?
Hey, thanks for the ad.
Yeah, welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Chris, good to have you. What's on your mind?
Thanks. So Keegan Klein got his sentence reduced. Richard Allen is going to have a speedy trial. I mean, what the hell is going on now? I mean, have they both finally given up, I guess?
Well, I mean, we weren't sure that there was a connection to begin with, but I don't know if Keegan Klein got his sentence reduced. I think he's just getting time served. He's been in jail for almost 6 years.
Okay, and Richard Allen?
He still has the ability to delay, right? They're trying to force hands. All I'm saying is, by them setting a trial date, we now have a timeline when I believe we'll see a plea agreement. Or first, I do expect some delays from Richard Allen. He still has the ability to delay the trial.
Yeah, you're right. Plus it doesn't mean he's giving up or giving in. Just means that maybe he's just tired of it all. Finally, I guess.
Well, it seems like maybe the prosecution has something up their sleeve, and I think that the defense is trying to do everything they can to kind of force it out.
If one of the clients did order or ask Richard Allen to kill Libby, I wonder if they're trying to make some kind of deal with Richard Allen then.
Well, during Keegan Klein's interview, if you read the transcript, they say a few times actually, they say, and this makes a lot of sense to me. They ask him, "Did you just tell somebody that you were meeting those girls, or that you had talked to the girls and told them that you were meeting them out there? Is there anybody that you might have just said that to?" So if Keegan Klein's casting out this huge net and trying to, I guess, play the numbers game with this catfishing he's doing, I think it's likely that he may have released information to somebody else who may have been online, like a met predator. I think there's a lot we don't know about Keegan Klein, and the information that he has about a possibly Richard Allen doesn't mean that they're connected. It just means that, well, I talked to a guy, he said he was the killer online, and that he needed to shut up about me, about knowing me. So maybe he didn't give a name. He just said, "Hey, well, I work in Delphi, so I need you to shut up about it, or I'll hurt you."
So then you don't think that it's possible he may have told Richard Allen that Libby was going to be on the trails that day?
I think it's possible he told somebody.
It's possible he told somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But not Richard Allen. Well, then how would Richard Allen know, though, then?
Well, that's the part we don't really fully understand. Was it premeditated? Was he targeting Abby and Libby, or was he just targeting the location?
You know? Don't you remember the interview with those girls, though? They said that he was walking with a purpose and like he was on a mission.
Correct.
Which to me says he already had a target in mind.
Yeah, but that's a reach, right? When you're late to work, you walk with purpose. When you're trying to rush to the grocery store, you walk with purpose. Maybe we were talking in the Discord earlier, and maybe everything he was trying to do was really just go target shooting down there near the crime scene, and he changed his mind. He wanted to go blow off some steam, so he had all the stuff he was going to bring down there under his coat. He backed into the CPS building, and like he's probably done before, he wanted to go down there and shoot a few targets, blow off some steam. But instead, he realized that the fantasies that he's had, today is a perfect opportunity to fulfill that. That's why investigators asked, why Delphi? Why Abby and Libby? Why this? Why that? Because Richard Allen is the answer to all of those questions.
Right, exactly. And there were other girls on the trails that day too, besides Richard Allen. I mean, besides Libby and Abby.
Yep, and a single female that could have actually been targeting. The timeline makes it seem as if he possibly could have targeted Betsy Blair.
You see, those are other reasons why I believe Keegan Klein told Richard Allen about Libby being on the trail that day. Now, would you agree?
I won't agree, but I do suspect that if there's pieces that we don't know, I think there's a good chance that that piece is Keegan Kline, and he knew somehow. I just can't get over the Wabash River search. I can't get over the Grissom Air Force meeting or the base meeting, and I can't get over all of this talk about the discovery not being fully released to the defense.
Do do you think in, uh, whether the clients were involved or not? I do believe somebody besides Richard Allen was involved though, because he obviously had a target in mind. He was going after Libby.
Yeah, he could have very well have targeted them, and it does appear that he specifically targeted Libby. I mean, if you play out everything that we know, that's what it looks like. It looks like he just didn't really pay too much attention to Abby, got her out of the way, and then focused his attention on Libby, and then just came back and had to move Abby over to where he was with Libby.
What do you mean? What do you mean focused on Libby and got Abby out of the way? How do you know
Well,
that?
here we've heard from the beginning that Abby did not leave. Abby stuck by her side. Now, that's inside information.
Inside information. Oh, wow.
So for some reason,
Okay.
investigators told the family Abby did not leave Libby's side, and that's what resonated with them. It stuck with them, stuck with everybody, and that's true. I believe it's true. So if she stayed, that means that she wasn't the target. Because if Abby was the target, then the story would have been that Libby stayed.
But unfortunately, Richard Allen had to kill Abby too, because she was a witness to Libby's murder.
Yep, 100%. Now, the inappropriate relationship that I'm sensing through all of this, I don't know if it's with the girls. I don't know if it's with somebody that the girls know, and he's trying to, they were going to say something about it, and maybe they conspired a young person and Richard Allen to silence them. I'm not sure.
So whoever else was involved, if not the Kleins, then who else do you think it could have been besides Richard Allen?
I'm not sure. It could be somebody after the fact.
What do you mean after the fact? Somebody told Richard Allen about Libby being on the trail that day.
Oh, is that what you're referring to? I thought you were just talking
Yes.
about others being involved. It's either Keegan Kline and somebody associated with the Anthony shots told him that they were there, or somebody similar to the Anthony shots who was targeting Abby and Libby online could have been stalking them online. But with everything that we know, it's if Richard Allen knew they were there, then it's almost proof that Keegan Kline is part of that. In my opinion.
Even if Keegan Kline wasn't there, if he told Richard Allen that Libby was going to be on the trail that day, then that makes him an accessory and just as guilty.
Depends.
Would you agree?
In my book, it does, but I don't know if he's made a deal. I don't know if he has direct knowledge. He might even have overheard somebody, saying, "Oh, I was on Keegan's phone and we were catfishing these girls," and Keegan had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. What do you think about Julian Powell or Brad Holder or Elvis Fields being involved?
Well, I find JP a little more interesting because we know for a fact that he was on the trails. So if you could put Brad Holder and that whole group there, like Patrick Westfall, Elvis Fields, all those people that were named by the defense as their people of interest, if you can put them at the even near the crime scene, I mean, that would change a whole lot for me. But these guys but they can't even connect those guys together, let alone connect them to the crime scene. And they don't plan to.
Do you believe that? Do you believe the defense about Libby and Abby being ritualistic sacrifices, or do you think that's just made up as a way to try to help Richard Allen?
Well, there's a few different ways to look at it. When I look at the information, that's not what I see, but I am not an expert. So if the defense really did bring in these experts and they said, whoa, like this is obviously some kind of a ritual and this is why, that's because the things that they're seeing are standing out to them. They've studied these things. They know the nuance of everything. They know what they're looking for. Me, I'm just like, this is okay. I use a reference. Okay, here's a list of runes and now I'm looking at what supposedly was left at the crime scene. I don't. It's not making sense to me, but I don't know a whole lot. There's bind runes. There's a chance that it's not even runes; that it's some kind of satanic or Wiccan ritual. I feel like there's a little bit of truth to all of it. Maybe.
Yeah. So what do you make of the David Erskine texts? Do you think those are accurate or not really?
Yeah, they're pretty accurate, but I find him highly suspicious.
Okay, so you're accurate yet suspicious.
Yeah.
What do you mean by suspicious?
Well, if we've learned anything about the crimes that we've covered, we see these folks that are involved always injecting themselves into the crime. Um, Something's telling me there's an inappropriate relationship, and I'm not here to accuse anybody. I'm just saying it seems very suspicious that he was living with them at the time of the crime, and he was very close when they were found. And he felt the need to talk about it. He's still talking about it. He moved away to Texas, so there. Who knows what was going on? We know Abby's mom was working. She was very strict. Anybody could have been grooming her. We don't know. There's a big piece of this that we don't know that is going to explain a lot of the motive, and hopefully Richard Allen will help the family with that.
Do you so do you think do you think Richard Allen knew that Libby was recording him because they were able to recover the photos and videos from her phone? So maybe he didn't know that she was recording him.
Yeah, I don't think that he knew. Because if you think about it, when you're walking that bridge, I have a feeling once he made his decision, he knew he had to be quick. He had to get to them and get them off the bridge. And then he could take his time. Because once he's down that hill, he's out of sight. So if he's trying to move real quick, he's definitely not looking forward. He's looking down.
And the PCA said that he's behind Abby on the bridge in Libby's video, but I've seen that clip that Abby isn't there, just Richard Allen.
But Chris, you bring that up every time you call in, and I answer that question.
Yeah. Sorry. My memory's not always the best, I guess. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay. So, do you think Richard Allen killed any other little girls, or just Libby and Abby?
Well, we don't know his role in this crime. There's talk about DNA and all these things. And if they know for a fact that he's the bridge guy, but yet they have some kind of other DNA that's not really associated with him, that might be 100% telling them that there's others involved.
We don't know of his involvement. So you're saying you don't believe that he's the killer then?
Well, he's definitely one of the killers, right? They can pretty much prove that he's the guy on the bridge, telling the girls, kidnapping the girls, and leading them to their death. So he's definitely a murderer right there. But if his DNA is not all over the crime scene and they know that there was another perp there, we don't know if he was a secretor. We don't know if they have saliva, touch DNA. But if it doesn't belong to Richard Allen and they know for a fact that he's the bridge guy, well, that would tell them that there's another actor.
Yeah, they did charge him with felony murder though. So even if he's not the actual killer, he's just as guilty.
Yeah, because if we learn anything about the West Memphis 3 case before it got all crazy, Jesse Miss Kelly told him that he just ran and brought one of the boys back. That was enough to convict him of murder. So if Richard Allen just ran and stopped one of the girls, that could have been enough also right there.
Could have been enough. You said the Erskine text seemed pretty accurate, but the thing is, he also said that Abby survived until the next day. What do you think about that?
I don't remember him saying she survived till the next day. He may have.
Well,
I'm not sure.
I have screenshots of the text that I can show you right now if you want.
If you just want to read it out, that part, I do vaguely. It does sound familiar.
Okay, hold on. I have a lot of photos, so it'll take a little bit. Sorry.
Actually, I have them right here, Chris. If you want me to read it.
Oh, okay.
All right, let me see. Sure. Oh, here they are. Let me share my screen. I have them all like on one sheet here. Okay. So he says, "No, I'm fine. Me and my other sister's boyfriend are the ones who found the girls Tuesday. Not much worse. You can show me." So remember, this is the same person that was living with Abby at the time. Okay, sick rumor, and I'm sorry to have to show you this. Not her nor Abby was placed there on the ground like a doll, folded, wearing hands folded. So that was pretty accurate. Hands folded, wearing the same clothes as the pic from the bridge. That's not true. Whoever did it, which part? Oh, right here it says also Abby survived until the next day. She tried to crawl away. So you got to consider the human element of this. He's probably either injecting that in there or it's true. Like even people that have seen the crime scene photos, there's two separate sets of photos that are out there. There's a leak that somebody had from the very beginning. I don't know where the hell those came from. Most likely a journalist that was early on the scene who sold the photos or somehow lost them, got hacked or whatever. And then you have the leak that came from Baldwin's office directly. Now, we had dueling leaks, so I'm not quite sure if there was more information in one of the leaks. So
she tried to crawl away, huh? The coroner's report said that everything was over by 3:30. 3:30. Wasn't that also the time when they were expecting the girls to be back from the trails or something?
no, way before that, like
3:15
they were getting picked up.
3:15 they were supposed to be picked up.
Yep.
Well, we know now why they were 15 minutes late. They were either dead or getting murdered.
Yeah, they were in the process of their father looking for them, and people on the bridge may have hurried him up a little bit.
So if Abby survived until the next day, I wonder if I guess that means that Richard Allen, for some reason, wanted Libby dead first, which also tells me that he targeted Libby.
Well, I don't subscribe to the idea that Abby lived all throughout the night, right? That's just not. There's just nothing to support that other than some weird messages online about screaming, and then also Anna placing her date, off of Friday the 13th for the 14th. So there may be some truth to it, but until I see some hard proof, I just think that she died after Libby. So that also tells me that they targeted Libby because the attack wasn't as efficient. It's like a quick attack. Like, this is what I'm going to do. You guys aren't listening to me. This is what happens now that you're not listening. If we learn anything from the Thomas Jerome Bruce case, One person with one gun victimized 3 adult women all by himself. He didn't need any help. He held them at gunpoint. He told one girl, he gave her orders. The very second that she said no, he killed her point blank. Didn't even think about it, didn't hesitate. Boom, she's gone. He turns to the other girls and gives them the same instructions. What do you think they're going to do? Whatever the hell he tells them, because this is one psychotic SOB. So if that's what Abby and Libby were dealing with, that could have been what happened. See what you did? Now you're going to do what I tell you. That's why Abby was fully clothed. They weren't going to play his game until he showed them that he was meant business. So that's what he did. Abby was an example. His target was Libby.
Yeah. I we're absolutely certain that Libby was the target, but my question is why?
Well, that leads you back to Keegan Kline, the guy who was targeting her, talking to her online. But also, she was more exposed than Abby. Well, from a public view, right? She wasn't allowed to have a phone. She had a tablet at home, and she was restricted on it. But it also appeared that she had a phone that she might have been using that her mom didn't know about.
Yeah, and maybe Keegan Kline had some kind of sick, twisted fascination with Libby, but Libby didn't precipitate, so he decided that he wanted her dead.
Well, there was some talk in the Keegan Kline transcript of, "Hey, those aren't nudes. What the hell are you even good for?" So it was like he was trying to groom her, but then they were playing games back, right? Like, "Hey, that's not you." Like they tried to catfish him back. So if there was any Anthony Shots angle, he could have been pissed off, and he could be like, "I'm gonna go get my photos. You're gonna give me those photos. I'm getting my photos."
But probably too weak or cowardly to actually kill Libby himself, so he asked Richard Allen to do it.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
But how would they even know each other, though, I wonder?
Welcome in Julia Burns. I'm going to answer that question real quick, and then we'll go to Julia. Well, I mean, they're both from Peru. Their family members knew each other growing up as young folks.
Did I know they both lived in Peru, but what I've been painstakingly trying to figure out is, did they live in Peru at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, where did you find that out? Because I haven't been able to.
Well, Mexico is basically Peru. But let's go ahead and let's welcome in Julia and bring her into the conversation. What's up, Julia?
Hey, long time no talk.
A long time. So we have Chris Owens and Julia Burns. What's going on, Julia?
What's up?
Same old.
So I was just I wish Frank was here because last time, or actually this was probably a while ago, but Frank mentioned, or maybe it was you, I can't remember, but on the day of the murders, I don't know if you remember this, but I was asking about like maybe another car in the area that was like maybe just kind of lurking and like driving around or something. And then Frank said that one of the Webbers, I think, saw a vehicle. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not too much.
Okay. So on the day of the murder, what? Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay. So sorry, I hear like an echo, but no, you're good. So on the day of the murders, like at the time, I was wondering if there was, maybe somebody else that was like say like a getaway driver or something. And if there was like another vehicle that wasn't Richard Allen's that was in the area that was seen, maybe just kind of doing loops or laps around the entrance. And I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure it was either you or Frank that said one of the Webbers said that like there was a vehicle parked somewhere and then it
Well,
was on the other side. Do you know?
yeah, what that comes from is that's Brad Heath.
Oh,
He
Brad Heath.
called it. Yeah, he called into Gray Hughes' channel and was like, kind of explaining his tip that he tipped in. We were all kind of curious to what he tipped in. He always said, I saw something and I felt that I needed to tell the investigators. Well, what he saw was a car, something you would take fishing on a Sunday, older model car,
Yeah.
and we hear talk of the McCains up and down that area.
Oh,
Well, that
McCain.
makes sense. Yeah, they're constantly there, and I think one of the McCains had a black or a four-door older model vehicle, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's something big was going on down there, and that those girls fell victim to something that was being planned for some time.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's what we're all feeling is that evil that's coming from all of it.
absolutely. I think this 100% in my opinion. Like this had to. I don't think Richard Allen was just in a shitty mood and going out and like, oh, what can I do to, I mean, it's obviously very possible, but I think there's something more to this. I think it's a lot bigger than everybody realizes. And
I
it
lost
just,
Chris.
oh, okay. Um, yeah, no, I just think it's like a lot bigger than, what I ever initially thought it would be, like I think there's a lot of planning that went into this and but there's just this huge giant piece that's missing and
Hmm.
that's the motive. Like what, you know what I mean?
What did you think about the target shooting theory that I had with Richard Allen, Julia? Him seeing prepared because he's just trying to lay low and he doesn't want anybody to know he's back there shooting his gun. We've heard Kay Weber talk about people shooting down there. We've heard from Brad Weber that he shoots down there himself. And also one time I was watching, I think it was a Greeno video, and he was doing an interview on the bridge, and you can hear somebody shooting down there.
Mm.
So what if Richard Allen backed in? He looks like he's carrying a kill kit or prepared because he's hiding his, maybe a target, some rope, his gun, maybe a box or two of ammo, and he doesn't want anybody to see him. But that's doubtful. I'm just trying to explain anything away because in
Yeah.
my mind, it seems so planned. Seems like he knows exactly where they're going. Seems like he's going directly to them, kills them, focuses everything on Libby, and then he's gone, and it's like it never happened.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't remember exactly the theory you're referring to, but just kind of
It was the
hearing the
theory
video.
we were talking about earlier today. It's something new we've
Oh,
been discussing.
okay. So is it illegal to do target shooting or anything down there?
Well, it's Ron Logan's property.
Okay.
It would make sense though, because if you go down there, you're surrounded by hills, and that's what you want. Like it's part of the law. Like you got to shoot into a backdrop. So if you're going to try to conceal the sound and kind of be hidden from everybody else, that's the place to do it. And maybe he knew Brad Weber.
So if he was target shooting, why would he go to Ron Logan's to do that? Why wouldn't he go to like a normal place? Like there's nothing wrong with target shooting. There's nothing nefarious about it.
I don't know. I think that would be a good place, especially if it's known for that. And we've seen other videos where people go down there. There's shotgun shells everywhere. There's targets. There's trees that are shot all to hell. So, and me, when I go hiking, I know it's a lot colder in Indiana, but that day it was pretty warm. So I don't know. I used to walk right through the rivers and get wet, and I just knew I would dry off, 15, 30 minutes as I continue on with my hike. Maybe that's what he was doing. He planned to cross the creek.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not like a hunter, so I don't really know a whole lot about this. I think the most I've done is like shoot skeet, but like it was at a very um like it was in Montana, I think, but it was a very like specific place. So I don't know like why would maybe I don't know, maybe you can kind of answer this for me. Like why would somebody go to some random secluded place rather than some place that you're allowed to just target shoot, because that, again, like, that doesn't seem nefarious to me.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't nefarious. I think maybe he was just trying to lay low, incognito, go down there, bust off a few rounds, and then sneak out of there. But instead, and also maybe he was also under the influence.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
you can't go to some public shooting range and you're all drunk.
yeah. No, I like what you're doing, because I don't think that's what happens, or what happened, but I do like that you're, like, challenging, like, just your own thoughts, like, your own opinion on it, because I do the
Yeah.
same thing. Like, I want to, I want to come up with, like, an all, like I want to play devil's advocate with myself, kind of, on a lot of these theories that I have.
And you
Um,
have to, because
yeah,
if
exactly,
it might
exactly.
take you
Otherwise,
further away, and you can't
yeah,
ignore that.
you'll just get tunnel vision, and then you'll become one of those wackos out there. And
Yeah,
yeah,
you don't want to be to a point where you want to be right instead of finding the truth. Like I have to
absolutely,
be right and it doesn't matter what the truth is.
absolutely. No, I completely agree. And I've definitely, like, fallen victim to, like, I haven't let go of the fact that I still think there's some client connection out there.
Mhm.
I
I
just
can't get
feel like,
over it.
right, no,
It's the Grissom Air Force Base meeting for me. I can't get over it. You have the
yes,
meeting the same day they're having a search in the Wabash River.
for real. No,
What the
it's
freak?
so, exactly, like, it's
But
so,
you can't let that lean you over though. Like, yeah,
I know.
it's huge, but you can't. It's not a fact. It's not factual information.
Right, exactly. Like, it's possible that it's
Hmm.
a coincidence. I
Interesting.
don't know. I just don't think it's a coincidence. I think there's something more there. And
Chris seems bent set on the Klein connection, don't you, Chris?
yeah.
I can hear it in his questions.
Chris?
You still
What?
there? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
No, I was saying you think Anthony Shots is connected to this, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I agree. I think there's got to be something.
If 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 Libby did die first and Abby had to watch it, that's also pretty cruel.
Well, it's extremely cruel. And I don't think she had to watch. She was probably wondering what just happened. Why was she just hit? And she was probably confused about the wound and she may have been in shock. And that's a big reason why there may not have been a whole lot of blood. She was most likely attacked right there in the water. So any blood is just going to go right down that stream. And that could be a reason that Richard Allen picked that location. So the killers, whether he's the main killer or not, I've listened to multiple serial killers, especially when they talk about what they think happened with Gilgo Beach and the Long Island serial killer. All of them say that it's no mistake that there's water found near those crime scenes and that it was planned that way by the killer so that he could hide DNA.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I just find it
Yeah.
hard to believe that, like, he would randomly just. Again, like, I think this was just very, very calculated, and the biggest thing for me personally, the why, the motive, and, like, the why and the how. Like,
yeah,
how
why
did
not
he know
just go
they were gonna
kidnap
do it?
somebody? Why not kidnap somebody off the street? And if it's so random, nobody would have seen you. Nobody would know. You kidnap them. You go do whatever it is that you're doing, and you wouldn't get caught. Like, why would you do it on a trail like that? Well, it does happen a lot, but why would you do it on a trail that you frequent?
Yeah, and so the area, it's like a large area, and there was, I think, from what I've heard, only like a few, maybe hours of um concentrated traffic. Like, I think, what did they say, like, maybe 20 kids there, which is sounds like a lot, but also it's so spread out. So
Hmm.
he really, like, if he's going to, like, just go try to find somebody to get a thrill kill, or, like, assault, or what, for whatever reason, like, that would be, in my opinion, a good place to do it, because then, it's a little more secluded, but also like there's no guarantee you're gonna find it, and or like
That's
find your
true.
target,
And for a thrill kill, I think that's a good theory. And I think Keegan Kline and Anthony Shots fits in there too. Because we know Anthony Shots was created mid 2016, right around the time they plan to fly to Las Vegas. So if
I
they're
think
planning this thrill kill,
Yeah.
and just before they're flying away, they're feeling the pressure, right? We need to get this done because we fly out to Vegas where we're going to try to sell this product. So my mind just wants to match the answer with how horrible the crime is, and that's just not always the truth. The answer
yeah,
might just be
I think
pathetic. Little old Richard Allen did it, and he was only he
yeah.
can tell us the motivation.
Yeah,
Uh
Go ahead, Chris.
okay. Yeah, I think Keegan and Klein either had a sick, twisted feelings for Libby and she didn't reciprocate, or she did something to aggravate him, and either way, he decided that he wanted her dead.
Yeah, and Valentine's Day might play a part. So he could have been
Yeah,
grooming her. He could have been attempting to have a relationship with her, and have nothing to do with Anthony Shots, and still be catfishing her or somehow stalking her, following her, because she went to the trails all the time. If she went to the trails all the time and he went to the trails all the time, who's to say they weren't in a relationship or knew each other, or if he didn't somehow take a liking to her?
who
Libby was always on those trails with her big sister Kelsey and her friends. And Richard Allen, according to the memorandum, frequented those trails often.
Oh my! Do you think Richard Allen could have seen Libby before?
Yeah.
If
Also, they were at Riley Park the day prior. Riley Park is right there in his daily path. Who knows? Maybe during his lunch break, he went there. I don't know.
Jeez. If Richard Allen was a pharmacy technician, though, so is it possible that he could have been maybe clever and intelligent enough to lure Libby to the trails all by himself after all, or do you think there'd still have to be somebody involved?
Well, him working at the CVS could have gave him access to what was going on with the Weber residents, right? They could have had all their prescriptions sent to Arizona, and him see that and say, "Oh, well, they're leaving out of town. Why do you need me to? I noticed you're changing your prescription to Arizona. You guys snowbirds? Oh yeah, we'll be gone for 3 months. It'll just be my son Brad watching the house every once in a while, or after he gets off work around 4:30." He'll go check the house. So he's like, okay, well, I guess I can, continue my fantasy about committing a murder over here. This is just sounding perfect for me. So maybe him going there that day, he has that in his mind that nobody's back there. He's used to going down there towards the crime scene. He knows Ron Logan's not going to mess with him. And if everything seems right on the trail, why not go for it if you're out of your mind?
Yeah. And another thing, if Richard Allen did see Libby before, maybe he's the one who developed sick, twisted feelings for her and decided he wanted her dead himself. So maybe Keegan's not involved after all.
Yeah, he may not be.
And if Richard
Most
Allen
likely
did,
isn't.
and if Richard Allen did lure Libby all by himself, that would explain how he knew Libby was going to be on the trails that day.
Yep, it could. And also, he could be using Kagan as a tool. Like, hey, don't you do all that catfishing? Well, I need to target somebody. Help me. Okay, yeah, I know her friend. We'll use that as an in. Right? I'll use my Anthony Shots account and we can catfish her that way.
Yes, exactly. But we're still not sure if he's the actual killer though. If not, then that means there was somebody else besides him involved after all.
Yeah, you guys want to hear a weird message I got the other day from somebody
Yes.
who
Sure,
watches?
sure.
100%.
Let's take a look at this.
Mhm.
And this has been tipped in, guys. So it's ridiculous. It's probably from some drunk person. They've emailed me and I'm communicating with them now. So I don't know. But hold on a second.
Was it me?
Yes, I've tipped you in, Julia. I knew it. Let's see here. Well, I have a video of it. Shit, I lost it. Oh, well, I probably shouldn't show the guy's face anyway. Anyway, he looks like the young guy sketch. It's fucking crazy.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I shared it in the Discord.
I don't even know what Discord is, to be honest.
Well, if this will help, if you guys want to go take a look, it's American Peasant is the name of the YouTube channel. And he left this as a public comment, so he's not trying to hide any of this. It says 30 this was like 2 days ago. They arrested the wrong guy because the feds couldn't arrest me. So they broke laws trying to scapegoat me. This led to Carter being able to use Mr. Allen as a scapegoat instead of me for his own political gain. I turned in the actual killer on July 17th, 2017, after I saw it on the news. I went to school with, lived with, and worked with the killer, which is the first FBI sketch and BG. And he looks like the second sketch, which is very strange. His name, the guy who's writing this comment. Like I went to his channel and he has a video and he looks like the sketch.
Okay. You said American Peasant or something?
Yeah. So if you guys want to go check it out, it's American Peasant. And he has one video on there and he looks like the bridge guy. He doesn't look like the bridge guy, but he looks like the young guy sketch.
Weird.
He says he says his name is RPWT. So he's got 4. Those are his initials. RPWT.
RPWT.
Yeah.
What's her name? The one who's joining us now.
That's Julia.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah. What do you think about the Erskine texts, Julia? Do you think they're accurate or not really?
I have no idea. The only thing that I can think of is I saw an interview with Abby's mom, and she said something. I think she kind of, in a way, validated it. From what I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that again, like, take everything with a grain of salt. But also, I think the texts themselves are accurate, but the information, I have no idea. That's my take on it.
Well, it's kind of like let's say Erskine was kind of close by, and you got Pat Brown. He discovers it, and as he's walking away, people are like, "Well, what did you see?" And then he explains what he sees, and now we're getting a third person perspective.
Right. Can you imagine? So I feel like if I was him, David Erskine, like, I'd be like, how did these texts get so big? Like, he did not like expect that to happen at all.
Not at
like,
all.
But talking about it, yeah.
But if Abby's mom said that his texts are true, though, then should that mean that they are then?
I mean, for the most part, they kind of were.
Sorry?
I was saying for the most part, they kind of were true.
I think, yeah. So in my opinion, I don't remember the exact interview or like where I saw it, but I know that I saw an interview and it left me with the opinion that the text were from David Erskine, but the information in the text, I mean, it seems true, but like obviously I wasn't there. I can't validate it. I'm a big skeptic about everything, so I have no idea. But I think
it's the human
they're
element.
legitimate. Yeah. What?
It's the human element. You never know what they're up to.
Exactly.
You know, plus, what do you make about the one where he says that Abby survived until the next day, Julia?
I don't know, and I think that's really weird that he would somehow know that. So maybe again, like that was just maybe his opinion, but I don't know what would cause him to think that. That's something that that's a really good question and a really good point, because I've also kind of wondered that myself. Like, how could he have known that she survived till the next day?
That could play into something. There's still information that we don't know, that only the killer would know, that
Right.
even people don't know from the crime scene photos. That could be part of it.
Wait,
Yeah,
sorry. What?
That could be part of it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, maybe there were. The only thing I can really think of is that, like, the position she was found in, like if she maybe drug herself away, like, like kind of army crawling on the ground type thing, and maybe that's what caused him to think she tried to crawl away, when who knows, it could have been just drag marks from the killer, like dragging her to wherever she passed.
Well, I was told there were drag marks. You have some people who they want to influence you, so they're going to lie, but some folks who have seen the crime scene photos say that there are drag marks.
Right. And so
and
maybe Erskine thought that those drag marks were from Abby still alive trying to crawl away, when in reality maybe it was just like from the killer dragging her back to her final resting place.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah,
Ers-
that's just my opinion.
I mean, yeah, Erskine could have just been saying what he believed, or giving his own opinion, but doesn't mean that his opinion was true.
Absolutely.
Let me share this. I think this was from Rick Snay. So, people want to say, "Oh, it's the tarot card," blah, whatever. If you were to carry somebody, whether it was with you and somebody else, and you laid them down, this is the position of their body.
Okay, wait, which one? I'm sorry. I can't really tell what that is. So I see.
So this would be Abby. See how her arms are bent? And her foot is bent underneath?
Oh, okay. I was looking at it at a weird angle. Yes, I do.
Okay, so if you were going to drag somebody, you would grab them underneath their arms, right?
Yeah, underneath their armpits. Yep.
Exactly. So that's why she's in that position.
Mm-hmm.
In that defense memorandum, they described the crime scene, but I've always wondered how much of it is true, because I have a hard time believing anything defense attorneys say.
Yeah, they don't plan to bring any of that information in the courtroom. And if they do, they're gonna have a completely different strategy, and that's some kind of tactic.
Right.
The defense, the memorandum also said that that both Libby and Abby's necks were sliced.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true, or do you think it's not true?
I think it is true.
Okay.
Do you know if Sleuth, I think I asked you maybe before, so I apologize for the repeat questions, but did so like Abby was wearing 2 bras, right?
That's what the memorandum states.
Okay. And so beyond that, we don't know if they were both Abby's bras or one Libby's and one Abby's.
Correct.
Okay, because I brought this up like a while ago, but like when I was probably Abby's age, I was like very like slender, very thin, very just, teenage girl. And I would, this is kind of funny and embarrassing, but like when I was like 14, I would sometimes wear 2 bras, but they were both, I mean, obviously like both mine, just to, like give extra, so I don't.
Is that the first thing you thought of when you heard that?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It was.
Me too.
Okay, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Me 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you guys wear 2 bras too back in the day?
I knew girls that did.
Yeah. Okay. So like, you know what I mean? Like it's a,
Mhm.
it's a thing.
Kids are
Because
kids.
yeah, exactly. And you know, like, yeah, no, it's a normal thing, but like no girl's like really gonna admit it, obviously at that age. But I just that is because I can't like it doesn't make sense to me why well, okay, honestly, none of this makes sense to me, but like I don't know um why he would put two bras, like why he would like take the time to put Libby's bra on Abby, you know?
Well, I think that's going to be also something that only the killer will know.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
and that could also be the reason why they didn't show us anything else that was going on in the video. For all we know, they swapped jackets. Right after this, they took this.
Yeah.
Abby could have been like, "Let me see that." Ugh. Let me get. Hey, switch me. Let me wear your nice clean hoodie. I'll switch you jackets. So when we saw the video or the pictures of the bridge guy walking and we saw the elbow kind of sticking out, and we're like, oh, well, that's Abby. It could have
Yeah.
been Libby for all we know, now wearing the gray hoodie. And only the killer would know that and law enforcement.
Yeah, so okay, but the video was taken on Libby's phone, so it would have been Abby taking the video then if it was
Yep.
Libby's elbow.
Yeah, like get me on video now.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
Libby was like, is that creepy guy behind me? Maybe she's the one asking, like, is the creepy
Maybe.
guy behind me? And she's all, mm-hmm.
Yep, who knows? That's a good point.
That could be
Where,
it. That could be
so
what
where,
only the killer knew.
so
Yeah.
where did you find the is the creepy guy behind me part anyway? I've been looking for that and I haven't seen it anywhere.
Comes from Becky Patty, and I think Anna may have said something about it on Dr. Phil. She goes, "Is the creepy guy behind me and still behind me?" And somebody goes, one of the girls goes, "Mm-hmm." And then you
Oh,
hear a
oh,
gun
it's
cock, and then you hear he's
oh,
got a
oh,
gun. Guys down the hill.
it's on Dr. Phil. Okay.
And also, Becky left a Facebook message on some group about it.
Yeah, I don't know what platforms y'all have, but if you do have People Magazine Investigates, they do a lot of great like true crime shows, and they
Their
did a great
website's
one.
good.
What?
Their website's good.
Yeah, I haven't been on their website, but I saw their episode on Delphi, and it was actually like it was done very well. And it has like a lot of the information from the like kind of the beginning of the case before the whole Anthony shots and everything came out. And it's so like what I do sometimes is I'll kind of like refresh like my memory and go back like knowing everything that we do now about Anthony shots and Richard Allen and all that. And I'll go back and watch like older documentaries, and this is a really good one, so I would highly recommend it.
Okay.
I don't sponsor them, so it's like truly like I think it's really well done.
So if I go to this website, it's not going to say Julia's website.
No
kidding.
comment.
So, do you remember which Dr. Phil episode though?
I don't.
Yeah, it
There's
was
a
the
couple.
Delphi one.
Or which Facebook group?
No, but I might have the actual thing. But what was the name of the documentary, Julia?
It was People Magazine Investigates, and I think it's hang on, I can look it up.
And I'll find that post for you right now, Chris.
Okay, thanks.
Surprisingly, I'm a little organized. Oh, here it is in my folder. Random Facebook posts. I don't have it.
You don't have it?
I don't have it in this folder.
Oh no. Do
But
you
it's
remember?
easy to find.
Do you remember? Well, it's not so easy for me to find though. So do you remember what group or?
No, it's better to Google it. Let me see if I can just pull it up real quick. Yeah, because it's a pretty popular one here. Horrible day.
No offense to Libby, but those pictures and videos she got of Richard Allen were pretty grainy.
Yeah, he was way in the background. Let me see if I can show you an example. Let's see.
Example of what the creepy guy thing we were talking about.
If I find it, I'll post it on my community page. But let's say, here, let's put this up on the screen. So I had pulled this earlier because it shows what kind of cigarettes, I think. What are those, Marlboros? Well, those look like Marlboros to me.
Not really interested in that photo, but okay.
I'm going to show you something. Okay, you see how he's just kind of back there in the background? What the hell? Yeah, let's try this. Okay, so let's say you want to know who this guy is, right? This isn't working. Never mind. It's not going to work. Well, anyway, they clipped out a really small piece of that image, like basically the size of this. So could you make out what kind of cigarettes those were? Looking at it like that? It'd be pretty similar to that. Trying to identify those cigarettes. That's how far back Richard Allen was in the Bridge Guy video. He was just a small, probably as big as this bottle. And they just zoomed in on him. Can you read that? You can't read that. So that's why it's so blurry, because it was so far away. You got anything else, Chris?
Sometimes Googling can be easier said than done, okay? Because I've tried and I can't find it. You people must have magical powers or something.
Oh, let's see. Delphi creepy guy.
And I can't find anywhere about Richard Allen and Keegan Klein living in Peru at the exact same time either, okay? So you obviously have magical powers or access to stuff that I don't.
Damn, I don't know why I can't find it. I'm sure I'll find it and I'll post it. But before we get out of here, what do you guys want to end on? Any questions you have for me? Anything you want to tell the rest of the viewers? Anything you want to end on?
Go for it, Chris.
Just bye. See ya.
Later. Thanks for the call, Chris. Another good call from Chris. What about you, Julia?
More people call in. Come on, don't make me be the only one. Me and Chris. It's always me and Chris.
Well, you guys are good callers. You guys are generally like curious.
Hell yeah, of course.
Me too.
No,
That's how I am.
yeah, I know, and I like that you do these callings. These are fun. It gets the brain working.
Yep.
So yeah, no, it's always a pleasure. Your channel is awesome, and like everybody in the chat is, I've never seen one troll. So either your mods are like on it, or you just don't have trolls. I don't know, but
Mods, me, yeah, we're on it.
hell yeah. Okay, well, I will not take up any more of your time, but you're doing great. Keep it up, please, because I will be here for it. And what was I gonna say? I'll email you. Actually, never mind. This is not. Yeah, I'll email you.
Alrighty. You
All
got
right,
it.
later. Bye.
Thanks, Julia. Great call.
Okay, yeah, bye.
Bye. Alrighty, guys. Another good little live stream here. Great calls from Chris and Julia. We'll catch them on the chat, and then we'll get on out of here. I'll save some of these stories for another Sleuth crew check-in. Talk about Freaky Ta from the Lost Boys. But we will end here with an update on a case that I covered, Benjamin Anderson. Let me see if I can give you guys a quick rundown on the case. Share my screen real quick. Okay, so I think this was New Year's when they found his car. He was supposed to meet up with friends, never showed up. Here's a quick video.
Man from the valley comes to a tragic end, and detectives have a murder mystery on their hands.
Benjamin Anderson
the
out
body
of
found
Phoenix,
in the desert
Arizona.
up in the New River area has been identified as Benjamin Anderson, who was reported missing on New Year's Eve.
His car was found burned off the I-17 in Dunlap, and detectives are calling his death a homicide. Kim Powell has been covering this for us and is live with the very latest near 7th Street and Glendale. Kim.
Yeah, MCSO detectives got here around 1 o'clock this afternoon, and they were inside Benjamin Anderson's apartment for a couple of hours after they got a warrant. Friends told us over the weekend that what they found in Benjamin's apartment seemed a little off.
It appeared that he sort of left in a hurry.
Daniel Stahoviak is a close friend of Benjamin Anderson, who was reported missing on New Year's Eve. He spoke with us over the weekend. He says after not hearing from his friend, Daniel went to his apartment to check on him.
Doors were locked first. There was cash on the counter. He wasn't there. You know, I think what struck us a little bit was that there was a wet towel on his bed.
He also said Benjamin's credit cards and cash were left behind, but his car was gone. After tracking the vehicle through Lexus, Daniel and his friends found it in a parking garage at a hotel along I-17. They said 3 people were inside. They followed it, but then lost it. When they found it later on, it was charred and gutted in a parking lot. And just hours later, detectives say they found Benjamin's body in the desert near New River.
He seemed like a nice person. I'd say hello, and, you know, he would say hello, and that was it.
Benjamin's neighbors in Phoenix don't recall seeing anything out of the ordinary. But now, detectives are going through his apartment, looking for any evidence that could point them in the right direction.
We're a quiet neighborhood, so there's not usually too much action over here.
Good point, Cheeks.
Now, MCSO hasn't released much information about this homicide.
Okay, so that's the overview. Now, we did a whole deep dive on this in True Crime in the Morning. If you guys want to go check out that episode, and I'll show you here the update. This was released just a couple days ago. Viewer discretion is advised.
First at 5, new information on a high-profile murder investigation. It's a story our True Crime Arizona team has been following closely. And it's our top story right now at 5. New tonight, we are seeing the moment deputies found Benjamin Anderson's body burning in the desert more than 2 years ago.
Some men out in the desert doing target practice spotted the fire and called deputies. And this new footage reveals what happened next. Anderson went missing on New Year's Eve heading into 2022. His car was torched in Phoenix. His body was found 30 miles away. True crime correspondent Brianna Whitney has been working on this case for years. Brianna, what does this video reveal?
Yeah, there's quite a bit there. We got about 5 hours worth of footage, and it's a case I've been asking questions about for a long time now. We see those hours of footage where the deputies get to the scene, and it's tough to watch them try to figure out what's going on and if this is a real body that's burning. As Ben's loved ones anxiously wait for charges to be filed against what the sheriff's office says are targeted suspects, this footage reveals new details and another bizarre clue in his case. And a note, some may find the video in this story hard to watch.
Is it a mannequin? Jesus.
December 31st, 2021, a rainy New Year's Eve. Body cameras are rolling as the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office gets a call that a body or a mannequin is on fire off the I-17 and Table Mesa Road. An officer climbs down a small cliff, piecing together what he's seeing.
He might have slipped and fell, and I might have, but I don't know what would set him on fire. I think we have a dead body here, Sarge.
Oh, it'll treat as a crime scene.
We now know that's the burning body of 41-year-old Benjamin Anderson, a Phoenix man who went missing earlier that day. This is the first time his best friend, Dan Stahoviak, is seeing the moment Ben's body was discovered.
I can't watch it. I saw the fire and I just, because he was alone, seeing it is a whole different story.
That same day, Dan and his friends found Ben's car in a Sheridan parking garage, driven by who they say were strangers inside. They followed the car for a while until the pursuit got too dangerous. An hour later, they found Ben's car torched in a college parking lot. They didn't know until days later that officers already found Ben's body in the desert. The body camera reveals another bizarre mystery.
Looks like there's hair on his legs, and he's got like fishnet stockings on, and his hair is short. I think it's a guy dressed as a girl.
This part perplexes Dan.
Did they put them on him?
He was a gay man, but his best friend says he never was trans.
Was it used to, as part of to tie him up? Everything goes through my mind because I've never known Ben to wear fishnet stockings.
The officer relays a theory to his sergeant of what he believes happened before firefighters arrive.
There's blood up here at the top of the hill where it looks like a body dump, Sarge, that somebody drug him and threw him off this little cliff.
MCSO confirmed they have.
I think this is very similar to what happened to Ray Hainish. I think he was catfished. Somebody groomed him, told him things that they were into. And
good targeted suspects in the case, and charges will be coming. Dan says he and his friends have talked about the difficulties they know are ahead.
We have to prepare ourselves for the moment we find out why.
MCSO didn't give us a time frame of when we should expect charges to be filed in Benjamin Anderson's case, but told us in January they were finishing up going through some digital data and records before they could move forward.
So that's great news, guys. So anybody that was checking out the episode I did of True Crime in the Morning on Ben Anderson's case, that's great news. They have some suspects. We can expect an arrest. Looks like we have one more caller. We'll make this a quick one. Looks like we have Candice Fonseca. Welcome in, Candice.
Hi, Sleuth. How are you?
Good. How are you? Welcome in.
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you. I have my daughter at home today, so I will keep this very brief. Okay. But kind of going off the wall, listening to you all talk today, it's like Richard Allen needed money around that time, right? Wasn't there he was paying for a wedding or something?
He had probably a funeral. His brother-in-law passed away, and also his daughter was getting married, and she moved out that year.
Right. So he's going to all this. So this is totally off the wall and just a kind of maybe even a silly theory. But Keegan and his dad were going to Vegas. Maybe they were going to pay Richard Allen money to do a snuff film, and so
like a hitman.
Yeah, and so maybe that's because everyone's always no one ever starts doing it killing at this age. Well, maybe desperate times call for desperate measures. They all knew each other, and he's like, hey, what if you know, with this Anthony Shots guy, you can meet these two girls, you can make this film, you can make some quick cash, you know, you get a commission or whatever off of whatever we make in Vegas, and blah, blah, blah. And then it kind of all blew up in the face because he got filmed because he's not a professional, doesn't really know what he's doing, and, you know, leaves a bullet and all this other stuff. And so
Gets his cash.
yeah, and I remember someone saying, it may have been Ruckus, but he was saying that maybe what kind of tipped them off to Richard was like maybe an old burner phone got turned on, and they're like the ping came up, and it was like, oh, and so it kind of.
First time I heard that theory, it came from Fig. He was saying,
okay, was it Fig? Okay,
there's a term for it where they can kind of track and see what phones were where, how they were moving, and things like that. First time I heard it was from him.
Okay.
And that possibly somebody may have activated a phone and it triggered something. I think we lost you, Candace.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry, I got a phone call came in all of a sudden. But yeah, so. But yes, it's kind of, you know, crazy and off the wall or whatever. But I was like, maybe, because it's like I've always thought that it's being made to be more complicated than it is. So maybe it was just something as simple as that. Like they were going to, you know, Keegan was going to pay him.
I don't think you even need Kagan for it to be the hitman. I mean, you have the McCains. You have it could even feed into this whole law enforcement corruption and all that. But yeah,
right.
the hitman theory is we're searching for a motive.
Yeah, because it's like it doesn't make any. It's like why? But then it's like I remember it's like whenever I haven't listened to the original press conference or whatever from like 6 years ago, but they were saying like that there was like it looked like there had been like a webcam, like a tripod or something, and it was set up like it was going to be like filmed.
I have a feeling that's who leaked. Who was part of the leak, the early leak. Is I think some journalists got there early and they set up the tripods and they got all of the photos that they needed before law enforcement even showed up.
Okay. That makes sense too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so who knows? I mean, this thing is just so it's going to be so weird when it's over and we actually get all the answers. It's going to be, you know, pretty bonkers. Be like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just crazy to see this case evolve into something just worse than it was the day before. Every day.
Oh, I know. And then you just, I mean, it's so crazy. Just especially when you heard like the whole ritual thing, you're just like, what? You hear like meth rings and witches and goblins, and you're just like, okay, guys, let's.
Yeah, people are focused on that. I find it interesting. The more people are reacting to it and eating it up. To me, that's more interesting.
Yeah, it's just
the psychology
like, okay, where are we going
that.
today? Oh gosh, I mean, but when the Odin thing came out, even I for a second was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" But then I started thinking about it. It's like, come on, they cannot. If it was a big whole Odin witch coven, it would be like people would know about it. Like people, there'd be people talking about it.
I think it is possible. A group of people could easily have gotten into a car, pulled in through the Wilson Bridge area, parked back there, and sent Richard Allen around the other side. I mean, it is possible. There's just nothing that points to that. So it's just like, it's kind of like all these different stories and all this different theories and speculation that we talk about, just trying to make sense of things. The defense team was like, well, let's pick the best one and we'll go with that.
Yeah. Let's throw rockets like what is that?
Darts, like.
Yeah, in the game, it's like what's the thing where you put like when you have a drink and you put your cap and there's like all this the
beer pong.
It's like the tweet. Oh gosh, what's that thing called? And it falls into just any category. It's like, okay, let's put the thing and let it fall down.
Yeah,
into
pin the tail on the donkey. You're blindfolded and you're like,
yeah,
we're going with the Odinism.
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's guys. Let's do it, guys. We got it.
Okay. And well, at the same time, what if the defense knows more about that than what they've released to the public? So, I mean, I'm open to it. I just don't want. I don't want to sensationalize about it without saying that's what we're doing, because these guys are trying to take the sensationalism and act as if it's fact.
Yeah, I mean, like they always say, all you have to do is create reasonable doubt. You know, so
that's what they're doing right now.
Oh, it's like, I mean, think about it. Think about, you know, with the jury and
not even for this trial, they're creating reasonable doubt for the appeal. Like this is 4D chess for these guys.
Yeah, they're good. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're good.
Million ways to screw
they've
you and a million ways to get unscrewed.
so crazy. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Whew. But anyway, I won't keep you. I know that I came in like really, really late, but I was like, let me just throw this kind of hitman crazy.
No, I'm glad you called in because we talk about that theory quite often, and we're trying to find a motive that matches this crime. But the
Yeah.
sad part is we've learned so many times when they catch these guys and they ask them a lot of times, "Why'd you do it, man?" They'll say, "I don't know."
Just did
Like,
it.
really? That's your answer, you piece of shit? You don't know?
Yeah.
Well,
And
sometimes
so
they
it's
don't
just
know.
all pointless.
It
Yeah,
is all pointless. And then they go to jail, and that's the place they were going their entire life anyway.
Yeah. So just it's I just can't even wrap my head
Conundrum.
around it. Yeah, it's like it's the thought of doing something like that is just so awful, and just I look at my little baby girl who's eating pho right now, and just if anyone touched a hair on her head, they better run and hide. So
Yeah, and even then, if
you know,
something bad does happen to someone we care about and we say we would do all these things, one
but
thing we
then
learn from these victims, it's not like that.
I
You
know.
just go to this dark place and it's like you're basically in hell, being tormented constantly by your own I would kill this motherfucker, or I would hurt them, or I would do this. But when we talk to these victims personally, they say it's nothing like that. It's like it's very hard. You
Just the
rationalize things.
devastation.
Yeah, you can't just go kill somebody because you think they killed your family member. Like that's going to put you in prison. It's like you're dead now.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's just rough. Like, what do you do? It's just better for
Yeah.
these folks not to go out and commit these crimes, and that's the part that drives me crazy. How do you
I know
see
it's
it
like
coming?
exactly. It's especially something like that. It's just literally out of nowhere, and it can happen at any time. I mean, look at this Madeline Soto. You find out just all these awful things that the live-in boyfriend was doing to that poor little girl, and then killed her. It's like, what was the point of that? Like, it's just
Like you
this.
couldn't control yourself. You knew you were going to
Yeah,
get caught, and that's another thing
exactly.
that kills me. Is a lot of these folks when they get interviewed or they start talking to their cellmates, they say, "Well, it was worth it."
Ugh, it's disgusting. It's
And now
absolutely.
you can't get your hands on these people. They're
They're
in
just in.
jail and
Yeah.
they're living the fantasy life again, right? They just go right into their brain, live in
Oh
this weird fantasy world. I'm not even in prison. I'm over here in this weird la la land.
Yeah. And also another thing that I don't get, I mean, please Lord, don't ever let me go to prison. I will never do anything bad enough to hopefully ever send me into prison. And I know it's like an awful place and it sounds like extremely scary, but they have like iPads and phones and like all these like ways to like communicate. It sounds like it's to get TVs. Like my uncle was in prison and he's passed on now, but he had like when they brought back like all his stuff, he had like a TV and a fan and like all these things you could buy from commissary. And it was like it's like okay, wow, you can get a lot of interesting, things in prison. But I mean, like I said, it doesn't sound like a wonderful place, but it sounds like they have a lot more stuff than I guess they used to. But anyway,
Yep.
I'm rambling.
Well, this goes to your theory here. Who's to say, and this will be our last one, we'll get out of here. Who's to say Richard Allen wasn't on the Wabash Erie Canal board? Who's your heartland? Got to follow the money. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interesting things about this whole case. Like the McCains, they used to own the Girard land, like that little shack that was down there. It's not there anymore, but that was down by the water. If you go down the 505 trail, there used to be a shack down there. It's been demolished, but that belonged to the McCain family before it was taken over by the railroad. So they were basically railroaded, literally. The railroad company built it right through their yard, and somehow the Mears and Ron Logan acquired that land. The Mears were like, okay, well, we'll give you this part of the land back, but Ron Logan was like, no. You can't have my part of the land. So they could have targeted him for that. Who's to know? There's just nothing that points to that, but we can speculate all day, and it is interesting.
Yeah. Who owns? Did Ron Logan have children? Like, does his family still own that property, or is
Yeah,
that?
I think it went to his son, And then I
Okay.
think his son may have sold the property. I'm not
Mhm.
sure, but I know it went to
Okay.
his boy.
Okay. I was always curious. I was like, I wonder who owns that now. Man, crazy, crazy. Well, I guess in May 8th or 15th, it's like mid-May
Mid-May,
that
from
it's
the
going
15th
to.
to the 30th, I think. Trial will commence.
That's crazy. Let's see.
Yeah.
That's going to
Well,
be. I
remember,
will.
Richard, he can delay still. He's the only one now, if it's granted, that he can delay it.
Yeah.
So I would
Man,
expect that or a plea before then.
it's going to be so interesting. Man, it's like almost a decade of like just trying to figure out a case, and then whenever it's just going to be over, you're like, wow, okay, okay.
Yeah, you should see all the screenshots I have for when they convict Richard Allen and all the people that are going to try to hide.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like a 2-hour video of just screenshots. Free
Wow.
Richard Allen. Richard Allen's daddy. Blah, 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 blah. You know, all this
I know
shit.
there's these people that are just so hardcore of like, he's innocent. And it's like, guys, just because you can't wrap your head around somebody doing something awful and you saw a picture that's staged of him looking pathetic and sad, you know, it's like innocent until proven guilty. But let's not just, you know, just you can't just say he's innocent because you don't know, you weren't there.
Yeah, like
You
with
know,
the
the
ex
only,
parte stuff, I agreed with that. Like Richard Allen, he's got a court-appointed attorney. Nobody should have access to that information unless his defense team drops the ball. But if I don't have the money to afford an attorney and I have to get a court-appointed one, I want to make sure I have the same rights of those folks who, you know, spent a whole lot of money. And so I felt that that was wrong. You know, they shouldn't have access to the doctors that he was seeing and things
I
like
agree.
that. So
I agree with that. When like your health records, it's all HIPAA law. That's, you know, some stuff that I deal with every day. So, you know, yeah, you like that shouldn't be like public record. And I still don't understand why they have him. I still don't totally understand why they have him in a maximum security prison. Like I'm sure that there's something else, especially when it's so far away.
in the
You know,
PCA, it says to protect himself that he was talking about hurting himself, and people say, "Oh, he looks like Hannibal Lecter or whatever." Well, the second you release his hand and you put a pen in it, he's gonna shove it right in his neck.
yeah. But I mean, but wouldn't you think that they could find a facility of some, I mean, even well, you can really put him in a mental facility because then defense could be like, look, he's in a mental facility, you know, he's not doing well.
And he's
So,
not
but
your
I'm sure that there's,
everyday he's not your everyday guy either. Like this is the most
Mm.
high profile case, not only in Indiana, but almost in the United States right now. We're talking like Peterson level.
yeah. So it's just so this, it's like when you can just like kind of tailspin and just go, you know, just go in every which direction and end up right back where you started.
And we've never heard the story from the investigators. Not once have they sat down and told the public the story. It's because that's what they plan to do in a trial. They're ready for that. They have all those, they
Yeah.
have all the answers that we're craving.
hmm
And they cannot wait to give those answers in that courtroom. So the whole
You know, they
story will
have,
come out.
yeah. And you know, they have to have more than just the bullet. There's no way that they would lock this down with just the bullet.
Yep.
They
I
don't
think
have to
it's the
tell you what they
witnesses.
have.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
witnesses
witnesses.
and whatever. I think maybe a few things during the search. And we're not going to hear from the defense about whatever they found in the search.
Oh,
We
yeah.
just know that they want to get rid of it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. They'll be
That's
like,
why
oh,
we
get rid of that.
Well, that's why we had the memo. That was
Yeah.
what they were putting that out to tell Judge Gall, like, look, this is why we want to push this Franks because of all of this. Look,
hmm
they ignored this Odinism stuff,
hmm
which is not true. It all comes from Richard Allen.
Yeah. So crazy. I'm looking forward to, I feel weird saying I'm looking forward to a murder trial, but I'm very interested to see what comes about and what information, you know, just to find out what in the world is going on.
Well,
Someone please
without a
explain.
conviction, Delphi can't put this behind them. They
Yeah.
need this conviction. That's the beginning of the healing process for them, is to get all the answers, come to a conclusion, and that's it.
hmm
And then they can start to heal, and we can talk about other cases, and then we can talk about it as an afterthought. Remember Delphi and how crazy the case of Abby and Libby was, and what we learned from this case, how terrible it was. we're going to be reviewing that case down the road and say, remember this, remember that,
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to be done. The books will be closed, and they deserve that.
They 1,000,000,000%. Oh my gosh. The
Yeah.
family, they all deserve answers. I mean, just in the whole community, because I mean, it's this little tiny town of like 3,000 people that people, go there all the time. And it's not to see, because it's really pretty there. I was actually really, like, when I think of, no, not to be mean to Indiana, but I never really thought of it being pretty. But I was like watching a video, I was like, oh my God, it's beautiful there. It's so peaceful and beautiful. And I was like, really just, surprised, kind of like New Jersey. Like whenever I lived in New York, when we went to New Jersey, I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. It's like when you have just like kind of a mindset of what you think a place is going to look like. And so, people are going there not to see this quaint, beautiful town. They're going there to see where 2 little girls got murdered, so hopefully,
Well, it's almost
all
like that's
the
part
victims.
of the one of the ingredients that makes it such a horrible crime is the location. It's like
Mhm.
you have this great looking Hallmark card place, from the outside looking in, of course. But when you put the microscope on it, you're going to see all of its imperfections.
Mhm.
And that's what you come in there doing, for as a true crime watcher, you're there with that microscope.
Right. Most definitely. All right. Well, I won't keep you anymore, but I just wanted to just kind of throw that little thought out before you left.
All
So,
right, great
yeah.
call.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for taking my
Candace.
call.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Chris was trying to call back in, but Chris, next time we'll have you in again. But we're going to end the live stream. So thanks again, Candace. Great call.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Talk to you again soon. Bye.
Okay.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it. I got to get out of here. I appreciate everybody who supported the channel today. Cindy Lean, 63 Clocks. Thanks for being you. Love the fact-based content, and the whole crew 100% support this channel. Thank you. Keep on rocking your great content. And this account, thank you guys so much for sponsoring today's live stream. And on that note, I will be getting out of here. Thank you for watching the Sleuth Intuition channel. If you are part of the replay crew, you know what to do. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay in the loop. Sleuth Intuition is 100% crowdfunded. If you want to support me and help my channel grow, here are 3 ways that you can help. Number 1, Cash App. The funds go directly to me without YouTube taking a percentage. Number 2, become a member. Members are by far the leading contributors to my channel. Number 3, hit up the merch shop. Represent the Sleuth crew on these ruthless streets. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. Until next time.